feel so inadequate.
We're back with, don't feel inadequate, John.
Well, he's a very well-known composer. You two sing, and
John, you grow great zucchini. We're back with Charles Strouse and
You
Della
can spot bears for us.
yeah, I know a bear when I see it. You bet.
We couldn't do that.
We left off at Golden Boy, and you were saying that Della was almost in the show.
Yes,
Yes.
I was almost in the show.
I didn't realize that you remembered that. But
Oh,
it
yes.
was very important to
Oh,
me.
yes. I cried a lot about that.
How come you weren't?
I never knew.
I know why. I mean,
never
because
knew.
the part of the sister, which she would have been ideal for, became smaller and smaller, and guess whose part became larger and larger?
Sammy Davis.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it was as it should be. That's not
Yes.
to say anything against Sammy.
Well,
but
I
mean,
didn't think it was as it should be. I wanted that part so bad that time I could taste it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't know what a fine actress you are. I happen to have heard that reading. I mean, you're well known as a singer and now as a cook, but you are
Versatile
a very
lady.
fine actress. Yeah.
Nice.
Comedian and everything.
What about the other song from Golden Boy?
Well, a night song, I won't do the whole thing, became a little known. Summer, not a bit of breeze. Neon signs are shining through the tired trees. I won't do that all because it's a long song.
And it's lovely, too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've always liked that score.
It was more, came out more as an instrumental. Nobody
Yes.
sung it much.
No,
but
it was never
the
done
lyrics were
because the
terrific.
range of it is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah.
It's about an octave, and it's almost 2 octaves.
Who
close
sang
to
that in the show? Did Sammy sing that?
Who else?
Sammy sang that.
Yes.
He has that kind of a range, huh?
Oh yes.
Oh, Sam has a
Sammy's
terrific voice.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Good voice. But
Fine.
what's the other one that we were diddling around in the
Well,
in the break?
this is the
Yeah.
life. This is where the living is. This is the life. Baby, you're there. Which Billy Daniels sang.
Yeah.
With guess who?
It was a guess who.
Now, you were saying the one that you sing in your nightclub act?
I Want to Be With You. I used to sing in Vegas late at night, you know. When in Vegas, things stay open to 5 o'clock. Sometime my last show was around, I'd go on at 4.
All right, is this
And-
putting you, I know this is
and,
putting you totally on the spot.
Oh, yes,
Would
it
you
is
do
putting
it?
me totally on
Would
the
you
spot.
do it?
I don't know if I remember it, and I wouldn't want to do what you did, you know, in the
wouldn't
middle
want
of
to
it.
do what I did.
He might write me
Like-
another song somewhere else. If you give me some of it and you tell me what it says.
I don't know what key. You probably.
See? Well, we just killed that whole bit.
No,
didn't we?
come on, let's try. Everybody wants
Pick a
to.
key.
I want to be with you. I want to be with you. After all those years of wanting you,
Too low for you.
I need you. I love you. And be with you. But it is a marvelous song, and it's a good love song too, you know. Especially if you got somebody you're sitting up with at 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, that explains it all, just exactly what you have in mind.
Do you sing to those you sit up with?
Oh,
at work?
yes.
Oh, I
Those
bet they love
people
it.
who stay till 4 o'clock in the morning to see you love each other, and they love you very much, collectively, usually. And so you really pour it out. I pour it out for everybody, but, you know, I really,
do.
yeah.
I can remember
yeah.
the last time I was up 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you ought to
I'll be
try
on-
it. It's still
It's
nice
fun
out at 4
sometimes,
o'clock in the
John.
morning.
Really?
It is,
Once in a
yes.
while, it's
Some
fun.
audience.
It's funny about that. It seems so inconsequential now, but at that time, I mean, we wrote Golden Boy, and it was about 2 human beings in love, but it was about a man who happened to be black and a woman who happened to be white, and that song was sung between a black man and a white woman. It's the first time it had ever been done on Broadway.
Gee.
And I just heard you talking before about your gums.
Yes.
And we got hate mail. We had to have bodyguards. It was interesting how the climate now has totally changed.
What was the
And
year, Charles?
1964, I believe. Yeah.
Are you related to Johann?
I think through a marriage somewhere, but not a blood
Not that
relation.
Strauss family.
No, we spell it differently, too.
How
Like
do you differ?
My name is spelled the correct way, S-T-R-O-U-S-E.
Oh, I see. They're the dummies, huh?
Yeah, they do it wrong over there.
From Golden Boy.
Well, after Golden Boy, I did a couple of shows in London, and then I did a show called Applause here with Lauren Bacall,
Yes.
and that was a great success. And I just saw her last night at the opening of a show, and it's an incredible thing. She looks even more beautiful and young every time I see her, and I don't know how she does it. And she made a remarkable debut as a musical star. Considering the fact she had never sung before
Oh,
on
she
Broadway.
really?
Never
Because
had
I saw
sung.
that show and she was just
She was
great.
wonderful. No, she used to, as a matter of fact, she told me that when she went to parties in Hollywood, that if it was dark enough and there was a lot of noise and people were smoking and nobody was paying attention, it was important, she would go to the piano, and she usually went with a friend of hers, a fairly well-known composer at the time, and she would do something like, embrace me, my sweet embrace me.
Like George Burns.
Didn't she sing in The Big Sleep, though? Didn't she sing?
No, it was somebody else's voice.
Oh, it was?
So she, when I worked with her for the first time, she thought that was the way she sang, that the whole orchestra would follow her. Because this guy used to go, and she didn't realize he used to go,
yes.
Embrace me sometimes, too, and, you know, with an introduction and all that, completely thrown. She said, well, why can't they follow me? And I said, well, they can at times, but, you know, 26 men, she couldn't quite understand.
Well, then
that.
she, after doing that at the piano, when she got up on stage in applause, what was the best number that she did? I'm sure they were all great.
Oh, well, they were all good. But Alive was a big number for her. She is such a remarkable woman. I could talk about her for a long time, because she did one of the rarest things that a star can do, and that is the very biggest number in the show, was the title song, Applause.
Yeah.
And anybody else, you would know this from your experience in the theater and on the stage, anybody else would say, that's my song.
Yeah.
She didn't. It was given to a little girl,
Yes.
Bonnie Franklin, by the way, who is now...
Yeah.
Doing
Bonnie
one
Franklin.
step, one day at a time?
Right,
Yes.
and she let Bonnie sing it, and she was off stage through the whole thing. It's
Would you
very
play a little
generous.
of it?
Oh, sure. Wait, let me see. I've got to do. What is it that we're living for? Applause, applause. Nothing I know brings on the glow like sweet applause. You're thinking you're through, that nobody cares. And suddenly you hear it starting, and somehow you're in charge again, and life's a ball. Trumpets all sing, life seems to swing, and you're the king of it all, 'cause you've had a taste of the sound that says love. Applause, applause, applause.
Applause,
We'll go to
applause,
commercial. We're
applause.
going to do more of this, so don't go away. Come back. We're having a serious discussion here with Charles Strouse and Della, Reese, and John and I. And remember that song? Well, you know the song, the theme song from All in the Family.
Yeah.
You just sing it.
Boy, the songs that Glenn Miller played.
Come on, Della.
Songs that about the hit parade.
Stifle yourself.
We had it. Those were the days. I wish I could get that part, too. I wanted that part, but O'Connor wouldn't hear to it.
That's your song, isn't it?
Yeah.
You didn't do bad with that one.
No.
No.
She playing it every week.
Reruns and reruns.
How did that happen? Did Norman Lear commission you to do this?
I had written a score for a motion picture of Norman's called The Night They Raided Minsky's.
Yes.
And we became friendly. And then he had the idea to do this show. He had no money at the time to develop it. And he said, here's $200. That was the price. I said, well, that's not my usual price. I mean, that wasn't the point of the whole thing. But he said, out of that, he said, I'd like to be for chorus and orchestra. I said, Norman, I said, I mean, that, you know, it doesn't pay for copying.
No.
So it was my suggestion. It's funny how things happen, that because when I was a kid, and we were, you know, lower class people, I suppose you'd say, we all used to sit around the piano. And I said, why don't you do that? I said, because you can't afford anything else anyway. Why don't you have Carol sit at the piano? And with Edith, and that's what happened, and it became the logo of the show. It's interesting and it's wonderful, but it was really because of the fact that there was no money.
And Charles, wasn't the fact that we were mentioning before, there was a certain word at the end of there that it was sort of garbled or swallowed by, I don't know, Edith or Archie, and the mail is pouring in, and it became one of the top trivia questions. What's that word?
Well, the people in Boston can be the first to know. It's G-E-E, our old La Salle. La Salle was a car, which was called it was the poor man's Cadillac. Ran great.
What about Annie, Charles?
Aren't you thrilled that
I
you know
am
that?
thrilled
Isn't that a good
because
show business
I
story?
never would know anything about those things
I don't
unless
know how
I
to
saw
cook
them on
veal
television
chops,
or you told me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
How about Annie, the story of
Annie, the story of Annie was a surprise to everybody, and we thought we would be very fortunate if we got a special, a Christmas special on ABC or NBC out of it. And we had secret thoughts for doing it on the stage, but we didn't think it would have the kind of future that it did. It was done at the Goodspeed Opera first in Connecticut, and it had a moderate success, but its success was underlined and enhanced a great deal by the fact that the three of us who wrote it, Tom, me, and Martin, Charnon, and I, were good friends, and we worked very, very hard on it with a great deal of joy. And then Mike Nichols picked it up there, and it went on to Broadway. It opened in Washington.
I've never heard any song as much as Tomorrow.
I know.
Everywhere you go, I mean, it comes out of the little perfume thing in the bathroom on the highway. Tomorrow, it's everywhere.
Well, the show's opening here, right?
What is the
November?
perfume thing on the highway?
You know, when you go in the ladies'
And why
room,
aren't
you
I
can
collecting royalties?
You get a perfume and it says tomorrow, tomorrow.
I thought there was a new machine that dispensed perfume as you went under the tunnel or something. No,
Oh, gosh. Charles, the show opens here November 27th. Why don't you play a little of Tomorrow?
All right.
Oh, tomorrow.
just a little of it.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
The sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow. Till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow.
You know it.
So you
Gotta hang on till tomorrow.
Come what may.
Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're always a day away.
Tomorrow, I love you.
Tomorrow, you're always a day
You guys should go on the road together.
Oh,
I mean, you should do a duo together. You guys should live together.
What about the title song, Annie? I
Annie?
love the title song from Annie.
Isn't that funny?
Why?
Well, I mean, because it's I don't know. I hate show business stories, but that was a song that was written not to be a song. It goes, Annie, 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 look what you've done for us, Annie. Annie, Annie brought out the fun for us. I won't do the whole. I wrote it as a counterpoint to another song which was thrown out of the show.
Isn't that something?
And everyone liked the counterpoint, so we kept that in.
Gee,
Our time is up.
Thank you. It is. Yes.
And the crew is going crazy on top of
Why
that.
is our time always up on that story?
Hey, I want to thank Della for, I didn't get a chance to mention, you gave me this creative cookbook.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I want you to get in the kitchen and do good things with camel soup.
Carol
Sure
will
I
love
will.
that. Carol's
Yeah.
a creative cook,
Oh,
right,
boy.
John?
Carol will love it if you get in the kitchen and cook some. Carol told me to tell you she's tired of all that cooking.
Wrong, I've cooked before.
She likes it better when she cooks, huh? Della, thank you very much.
I'm glad I came. It was a very nice
I'm glad you stayed
morning.
so long with us. And Charles, really.